I'm your host, Sara Troy, and my guest is Irina Lotvin. Welcome to the show, Irina.
Thank you so much for having me.
We all think that we can't do without something. My ex-husband is Chinese, and when I first met him, I was on 17 cups of coffee a day because I'm in the restaurant business, and totally wired, everything about me. And I couldn't sleep, everything about me like that. And he got me on ginseng tea. And completely clear. I drink one and a half, maybe 2 cups of coffee a day now. That's it. Water the rest of the day. But he got me on the ginseng tea, and it just completely, cleared me off the whole coffee craving, gave me the energy, which was wonderful. And I had a wonderful Western doctor that she would say to me, okay, you've got this. Now, what can your husband find out what to take about it? Because she would always push the Chinese medicine as a solution before she would go to the Western medicine.
In Chinese medicine, there is so much wisdom, the literature, the poetry just has so much wisdom to pass along. And I think it's probably one of the most ancient, even before Ayurveda that came, because before I wanted to study Chinese medicine, I did a lot of research. I wanted to go into naturopath, or should I go into homeopathical school, or should I go to Ayurveda school? And then I don't know why Chinese medicine kind of won me over, because it was just so much data on that.
Yes.
And I'm kind of the right and left kind of person. Like, I have to know the data. Like, I have to know why it works, how it works, the depth of it, and have studied it. I remember my first year in Chinese medicine, I was like, oh my God, that's why I have so-and-so. Because, of course, just like any medical student goes through the medical studies, when they do pathology, everybody thinks they have all the pathology that they're learning. At the end of the first year was the anatomy, and second year was the pathology. And then the second year, out of 4 years of studying Chinese medicine, the second year, when we studied pathology, in Western pathology, they would bring in the Chinese medicine to compare, how do you compare the Chinese medicine, Western and Eastern together. Yeah. And it was just so fascinating how everybody was feeling that they had all of them.
Yeah, right, exactly. The thing about Chinese medicine, things like acupuncture, just amazing, because it releases your chi, your energy, and people don't realize if their energy is blocked in a certain place of the body, the fascia can't send the information from the brain down to the rest of the body to work, and you need that energy to be constantly go. The acupuncture is absolutely brilliant in releasing the chi, so that energy can get through the body again, and just keep that energy flowing, because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to flow within you all the time to optimize, your whole performance in life. It's the same with the energy that you have around you. This is what you were saying earlier about the right people around you when you're making these decisions, because you want to be around the right energy.
I want to say the best, in Chinese medicine, we have this yin and yang, right?
Yes.
The yin and yang. So the energy is constantly flowing.
Yes.
The day turns into night, the night turns into day. We need to rest. We get up in the morning with the sunshine. We have full of energy. If we burn ourselves and not get some sleep, our yang is not rising anymore. Yang is the upper energy. If you look at the body structure, the head, when you stand up, is your yang energy. It's closer to the heaven energy. And then your feet are on the ground. They're closer to earth energy. So the whole idea is, like, when we do Chinese medicine treatments, is to rebalance that yin and yang energy. It's not just the organ system, but it's also rebalancing, how to ground a person. The energy is constantly, like in Ayurveda, they have also similar confirmation to a person who has pitta energy or vata energy or kapha energy, and how to rebalance it. And so the same thing with yin and yang. It's are you constantly in yang? Because if you're constantly in yang, you're gonna burn your candles.
Exactly. Have you always been in this, discovery of of health and of, of what works? Is this something that's always been there for you? Or did you have a crossroads somewhere in your life when you looked at, I don't like where I'm at, I don't like how I feel, and I want to change?
I was brought up, I would say, with a grandmother who, both grandmothers loved to cook. And so I believe, looking back, that I came from a family that food and cooking was a very important part of the process of taking their health. And today I even have one aunt that's still alive that's 99 years old, and she is so alive, and she lives by herself, and she cooks everything herself. Mm-hmm. She doesn't let anybody touch her food to cook for her.
She knows what she likes and what's good for her and what works, right?
Yes, yeah. And she does it all from scratch. And no, she's not plant-based, and and she has, unfortunately, issues that are related, mm-hmm. and you can't change sometimes, everybody.
Right.
And at a certain point, it's, it worked for her. She's 99 years old, and yes, we're all going to get pains. But my background, that you said, it does rotates a lot around food. But my story, my own journey, I wanted to be an artist when I was growing up. And so I went to pursue that passion of mine when I was younger, and I won scholarships to go to a very famous art school in New York City. And so my first year of that art school, my parents, who were very disappointed that I didn't follow their medical steps, that they were in medicine, both of them. And they said, oh, you're not going to survive as an artist. You're going to be a poor artist. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, fine, I'll switch to fashion design. So I switched into a fashion design in the same school, and I continued my career for 22 years in fashion design. And during that time, it took me, like I was saying before, to foreign countries like Hong Kong and China and Paris, of course, and London, of course, and Germany and Spain, for fashion stories, and Italy, of course, as well. Mm-hmm. But in China and in Hong Kong is where I discovered Chinese medicine, mm-hmm. when I was young. And at that time, I didn't really give it much of a thought. I just felt good, and I felt fantastic. It's like, instead of massage, I'd go and get an acupuncture, mm-hmm. For me. And I would feel so amazing. And I remember that, getting massage would give me energy for a good day. I would feel great for a day. And the next day I'm, okay, done, back again. And then when I got Chinese medicine treatment, it would make me walk on clouds for a week. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's something to it. So I got very into it. I want to say in New York City, there were Chinatown, and I would go regularly for about once a week or so to get my acupuncture treatment. And then at the age of 45, 46, I got sick of working in fashion industry, and I just wanted, like you come to a certain point in your life that I wanted to have some sort of a community. I wanted to give. I wanted to be part of something. And I started thinking and writing things out. Like one thing is that I will say is that I always followed my heart, whatever I did in my life. Mm-hmm. Yes, I never really succumbed to, you have to do this and you have to be that. And so at that time, I started investigating, what would I like to do? What do I want to do? And because Chinese medicine was so powerful in my own experience, I said, I want to know how it works. Mm-hmm. I want to learn it. And so I started on that mission that I want to learn how this Chinese medicine works. And I was just so passionate about it, because it was just like poetry. So when I was in school, in Chinese medicine school, every teacher would ask us to get up and introduce ourselves. And I started introducing myself as, I used to be a fashion designer and blah, blah, blah. And I discovered Chinese medicine. I absolutely love it. And I want to learn how it works. And then at one point, I had an aha moment. And my aha moment was very phenomenal. I'll share it with you. I used to work as a fashion designer, designing clothes for women primarily to make them look great, to make them feel wonderful. And I used fabric to make absolutely beautiful designs. And then when I was introducing myself about Chinese medicine, I said the aha moment was, it's interesting. I used to use needles, to sew. Oh my God, Chinese medicine has needles. Oh, I use fabric to design beautiful clothes. Oh, well, our body is our biggest fabric.
Right. Yes.
And then I would design for women to make them feel good and look great. And so designing a treatment plan for a person was something that I was doing anyway. So it's just like
just switching fabrics, switching designs,
switching
right?
fabrics. Yes.
So you were designing them from the inside out, not the outside in.
Because every point is a design point, basically.
Yes.
That manipulates every organ system and manipulates how a person feels and manipulates how a person is in their being, in their state. So I was very fortunate to follow my heart.
Yeah. Both times, really.
Both times, really,
right?
Yes.
Because, we take various journeys, in our lives. And it's like, well, just because you were good at that doesn't mean you have to continue on that. But it doesn't mean you have to throw it away, because there's always some skills of that you can apply to something else, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
you hear all the time of people completely going in a totally different direction. And you think, well, it's like chalk and cheese. It's so different. But no, what are the fundamentals? Because there is something there that's in synchronicity. And that is, just applying those same skills or beliefs to something else.
And so it comes from your passion. And, when it comes from your heart and it comes from your passion, and again, like you started the story about the energy, if you have that energy, and energy is your passion, if you have it, it's like, each time I would do a treatment, I'm like, oh, really, you feel good, your back is fine. Oh my God, can't believe it. My mom was going through cancer, and I designed a treatment for her when she was going through chemotherapy to build her blood back again, because, they wouldn't be able to do the chemo if the blood was, the white cells were not up to the level that they could infuse chemicals into the body, so that, it had to be the correct white and red blood count. So I would be able to bring her blood count to normal in order for her to have chemo. I mean, I hated the fact that she did have chemo, and I hated the fact that I couldn't say what someone has to do. Somebody has to do what they need to do for themselves. Yeah. And it was just very hard to see that and witness it. But separating yourself from that, it's very hard. And separating yourself when I do treatment is also very hard, because it's not me that's doing it. It's my knowledge and my energy is doing it. But it's not me. It's flowing through.
Yes, you're channeling
me.
it. Yeah.
And so it's a very, very potent, it's very potent. And I've developed a lot of my intuitive skills, because we had to do like thousands and thousands of pulse measuring, for example. And you develop your intuitive skills. So it's very powerful training that I had. And I'm so grateful that I can use it today without the needles on clients, just by, taking that information from them and being able to turn their health and life around.
Yeah, when I used to go to the Chinese doctors, it was the pulse and the tongue.
Yes.
And the tongue can say so much about your health, can't it?
Yes, it can. And also your voice. And the best doctor can just see how a client walks and talks. Because I was always like, oh, but Chinese people don't speak Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. I can't really talk to them. I can't tell them what they need to do with me. They don't understand me. I said, well, a good Chinese doctor does not have to listen to what you say. They have to hear how you say it, how you sound, how you walk, how you talk, and how you smell. Because every smell resonates to they call it CF, central focus, like your root, so to speak. Like each one of us has a different root. Each person has. It's the way you were born. And if you're out of balance, you can bring yourself into balance.
Yes.
By doing certain steps and therapies like food and exercise and mental state.
Yeah, and the thing is with Chinese medicine, it doesn't have to be big, kung fu. You know, you have the qigong, the tai chi. You know, it's slow, deliberate movements. And as you're saying, they don't really need you to tell them what's wrong. They will be able to tell what's wrong from the breath, from the tongue, from the pulse, as you said, from the way you speak, the way you hold yourself. Yes. They'll know what's wrong, right? Because when our body is out of sync, it's screaming. But we can't hear it because we haven't been trained to actually pay attention to it.
Yes. And so I decided, quite honestly, it's interesting how life does happen. It all happens, like when you look back, it happens all for a reason. When COVID hit and I did not practice in the office, I kind of looked at it from the side. I said, well, I'm getting to that age where I might want to relocate, and I'm going to have to do another examinations. Instead of another examination, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to go through that again. And then the aha moment came to me too. And I said, clients come to me, they feel better after the acupuncture treatments. Yeah, they keep coming to me. They go away for 6 months and they come back again for the same thing. And I'm like, I don't want you to come back to me. I want you to know what you can do on your own. You got here because you did that.
How to be self-sustainable.
Yes. So I'm like, so in a way, this kind of coaching, health coaching kind of just fell on me. I said, I want to teach people how they themselves can take care of themselves. Without resorting to doctors or even Chinese medicine doctors. Because if you think about all those Chinese medicine doctors, they know how to take care of themselves. They don't get treatments.
Right. Yes. Well, prevention is a big cure, isn't it?
Yes.
Knowing when you're out of sync, knowing when things are out of sorts. Yes. It's kind of stopping and paying attention as to what, being able to tune in. And know, okay, I am tired. Why am I tired? Is it the adrenal? Am I pushing myself too far? Am I not getting the right nutrients? Am I allowing stress to do this and that? We don't have this conversation with ourselves. We'll do it with someone else, but not with ourselves. But we've got to be our own self-maintenance.
Yes, and it takes sometimes practice because, we're so tuned in, it's just running. And we just don't stop until the light goes down. And then you're just like, okay, I have to go to sleep because I have to get up in the morning. Yeah. So it's this kind of running. So, when I love this idea that you could retrain a person, it takes time. It's not overnight.
Right.
But then it serves a person for life. And then they end up, instead of being sick and not mobile, and resorting to them to go to emergency rooms.
Right, yes.
They self-sustain and they're happy and they live happily until, they run out of time, but in a healthy way. Finally designed a booklet. Discover 7 steps to kick your sugar addictions. Because I've found that sugar is really, 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 really big corporate to our health. And so if people can follow those little examples that I post in that booklet, I write in that booklet, and they can just print it out and put it on their refrigerator or someplace where they see it to remind themselves on things they can do instead of reaching out for that sugar. That would be very helpful, for them to know why they're having these certain issues and see how they feel. And I also offer, of course, for anybody who is interested to learn more, I do those 5-day free, or I'm going to be charging like very minimum amount of dollars to people to participate in those challenges where we call it reboot the body, basically, because, the body needs to rest and the body needs to reboot itself in order to become healthy. And amazing stuff happens during those 5 days. People lose from 3 to 10 pounds, believe it or not. I'm myself in awe. But really what the weight is, all it is that it's a symptom of the body is not being happy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So people come to me to lose the weight, but they get their health back.
Right. Yeah. It's learning how to eat. It's learning your relationship with food. It's learning, how to respect food and what to put in your body. Again, you wouldn't put crap in your car, so why are you doing it to your body, right? This is the vehicle from birth to death. So look after this vehicle. So it's really important. So how do people get hold of you, love?
So I have on LinkedIn, I have my own presentation. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Facebook. It's under my name. They can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube also account and a podcast. But in that little booklet that I will be happy to share with you and your audience, I have all the links to my I guess social media, that's what they call them, social media. Yeah. So they can click on it and they can find me and they can follow me. They can come into my group. It's absolutely free of charge, but it is a private group. You have to come in, you have to enter, and you have to just become part of our health tribe. And then you'll get notices when I do my next 5-day challenges. In that group, I post a lot of good resources, like we do little challenges ongoing. We do a lot of information on cooking and food. So it's a pretty nice community of women, specifically women. I mean, I'm not excluding men, but I feel like women need more support.
Yes, and women will change the diet of the family.
Yes, true. Yes, so and the dynamic is kind of nicer, when they're just women. I feel more comfortable to talk with each other as well.
Right. So the name is Irina, Irina, Lotvin, Lotvin. So they can do that on LinkedIn. So they'll find all the information on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and of course they can email you.
Yes. And also the name of the group that I am referring to will be also a link on that PDF file that I can provide for anybody who wants to reach out. And of course, they can reach out to me personally and set up an appointment if they want to talk to me. I'll be happy to share, if something they need that I can clarify for them. I'll be happy to guide them. If I'm not the right person, I'll be happy to guide them to the right person. The Facebook group is called Lose Your Last 10 Pounds.
Great. So for people who want to go and get the 7 tips, I'm going to say what it is. acudoc.groovepages.com/7 tips. And that's where they can sign up to get it and just be a part of it. Take it from there. Well, thank you so much for sharing here today. There's a lot learned, and I'm completely, like the gut, folks, the gut, it's the brain of the body. Look after it, right?
You can change it, know that it's possible to change the body. The body is so pliable to change. It wants to change. You just have to know the right steps, how to do it. That's all. But it's possible. Right. Body does not need to be in pain. It doesn't want to be in pain. Just paying attention to it.
Irina Lotvin, IRINA LOTVIN. She'll have her other links there. Go and sign up for that whole process there, which is just so easy, right? 7 ways to kick the sugar addiction, folks. You will feel so much better after doing that. Well, thank you so much for being here, love, and sharing here today. Thank you for having
me. It was beautiful. Yes.
We've learned a lot. And, bottom line is, folks, please look at what you put inside your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, and obviously with your food. And just think, are you being kind by doing it? And don't be afraid to change. Give plant-based diet a chance. Please reach out to find out how you're going to kick your sugars, because that's the first step.
Beautiful to have connected with you, Sara. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.